Hello, and welcome to our show, Growth Without Risk. My name is Dr. Janice Hughes, and I'm excited to be your host of this week's show. Now, I'm looking forward to the conversation today, first of all, because it's somebody that I wanted to catch up with, and I've watched what she and another doctor that she practices with have done. And I thought it was going to be really pertinent, number one, to practitioners considering a change right now. I think the craziness of the world has allowed us all to say, are we practicing and doing what we love? And if the answer is yes, fabulous. And if no, it really means that it's time for change. And sometimes it's time for a drastic change. But I also think this is going to be pertinent to any of you that are brand new practitioners in startup mode. And I'll share a little bit more along the way, and you'll really realize why. So I'm excited to bring to you today a really dear friend and wonderful, amazing chiropractor, Dr. Jennifer Rosenhart. So welcome, Jennifer, and I'm really excited about having you today.
Well, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Janice. It's always great to catch up with you as well. And I'm excited to share what our journey has looked like over the last little while.
I really linked it. I kind of called the title this idea about your values to business startup. So just spend the first couple of minutes telling people about the change you've made and why you made that change.
Sure. I practiced in San Jose, California. I went to Palmer West and I graduated in, oh my gosh, 1997. So for a while, it was 20 plus years in the Bay Area and had a great, thriving practice. And just decided, I practiced with my sister, by the way. So she's also a Palmer West Chiro, Dr. Steph Rosenhart, our vet. And we had been in practice in the Bay Area for more than me 24 years. And one day we just started chatting, and said, do we love it here? The Bay Area, for those of you who don't know, is like the San Francisco Bay Area is like millions of, I don't know, 10 million people. And, in your 20s, it was cool. We loved it. It was high pace. It was, you could get everything. You could go to the beach in an hour. You could go skiing in 4 hours. It was just a really thriving, high energy place to live. But, as you grow older, as your values change, um, ours did too, and it became a very hustle bustle, very intense place to live, and traffic had increased, and humans had increased, and it was just became not where we wanted to be anymore. So we decided that uh, we would leave. That we started looking for different states that we wanted to move to and examining all of our options. What would we do with our practice? And just started that exploration. And what had happened was, as everyone knows, is COVID happened, and that really just accelerated our departure. That just really made us think, you know what, this is our opportunity. Like, this is a crazy time, and in California, it was the craziest. Um, and we looked at it as an opportunity. This is an opportunity for us to make, live this plan, work this plan of leaving and relocating. So that's what we did. We decided, okay, by the end of 2020, we're going to be out of California. And so I make it sound a lot maybe simpler, easier than it
Yes,
was. But
yes.
by the end of 2020, we were out and we moved to Arizona and reopened practice here.
So, I think that's why this is such an interesting and pertinent conversation to be having. All of you listening, we know it's almost the holiday season, it's end of year. We all have these goals, we have all these aspirations. And sometimes we are going, wait a minute, is this it? Or I'm not completely congruent in practicing like with some things that align for my values. And that's even important for any of you in the beginning of startup. You're graduating and where would you love to live? And so not also thinking, oh, I have to do that for the rest of my life, like
Right.
you guys did that for 20 some odd years. Maybe it's even just for 5 years. So I
Hmm.
think it's really clarifying, like, what is it that we want? And you guys had to go through kind of the mental, sort of thinking and approach to that first, but then
Yes.
share a couple of the I'll call it the real skills. Like, how do you relocate? How do you throw that dart, say, here's where we're going to go? And for everybody listening, what do you guys think, you personally think now after a year into this? Like, what are 3 or 4 of the key startup things?
Oh boy. Okay. So, first question, what was okay. I think okay, so 3 of the 4 startup things, I wanna start there because it is a big project, and one of the things that you have to look at is, yes, absolutely, where do you want to be and why? So, at first, living in California was all about lifestyle, and it was, weather, and it was beautiful, and it was cutting edge, and it was Silicon Valley, and so, when we were looking at, well, what aligns with our values now? Did we need to have the hustle bustle? No. Did we want to be close to a big city within, 30 or 45 minutes of a major airport? Yes, that was important. But did we need to be right in the middle of things? No. Did we want to be in a more suburban type of environment? Yes. So looking at those things, once we picked the place, and I'll tell you, like our family had a lot to do with that. We were looking for a state that had handled um, freedoms, medical freedoms, much better than California has. So that narrowed our choices down. But family was a big decision maker for us, and our parents live here half time in the winter. So for my sister and I, when we practiced together, we thought, well, this is a no brainer. Like Arizona's beautiful, we'll live here. But once that decision was made, then the process began of, okay, we need some sort of ongoing project management software list, something, because inevitably there were many sleepless nights where we just, you'd sit
Yeah,
up at 3 a.m. and think, ah, well, we got to look at this. We have to figure this piece out. So we ended up, creating a living document, an ongoing spreadsheet of just all of the things. And what you don't realize is the dominoes that have to fall in order for everything to go smoothly. So
right.
you just learn that as you go. But I would say the 3 or 4 things as startups that you have to do is, one is just get well known in your community. I mean, that was the thing that really kicked our office off in the beginning a year ago. It'll be a year in January. Was just getting to know our community, and that's through, like, do everything. I know it sounds exhausting, and it can be, but do everything. Get well known. Go to your chamber, go to events, join, you know, networking groups. Like that really made the biggest impact for us. Secondarily would be getting your presence known online. That's where everybody is. So you
Right.
have to do that. You have to do that. Your number one job is marketing. Like that is your job. Hopefully you know how to be a chiropractor. After that, your number one job is marketing, your entire job to get
And
a new practice
I,
off the
I
ground.
really want to make a key point there because what Jennifer's identifying is the importance of 2 types of marketing.
Yeah.
And I'll call that the electronic. I've
Mhm.
spent a long time going to some of the colleges and working and creating, doing some business courses. And I
Mhm.
know the tendency for some of you listening is, well, we can just do all that online. Yeah, you talked about that online presence, that online marketing, but do not forget about looking at someone, shaking someone's hand. And I get that we're in this post-COVID world and some places are more extreme than others, but it doesn't stop you again from being seen, being out there,
No.
even if that's at the grocery store, at the, some things that your kids are going to be involved in if you have
Mhm.
children. But you really talked about the two, and I can't say that enough.
Yeah, it was the one way that we really kicked off strong was from in-person networking, and you can't discount it. You cannot discount it. And I would default. I mean, our practice in San Jose was on autopilot. I mean, we didn't have to do a lot of that after 20 plus years of being in that valley, but brand new, nobody knew us. That was
Yes.
really difficult. And it was difficult for us because we were used to being the go-to person for our patients who would come to us and say, well, who do you know who, does this or that? And we were so well networked there that I always, oh, I got a guy for you, or I got this woman. She's amazing. You'll
Yep.
love her. And we didn't have that here. So part of it was selfishly, I needed to grow our network so that I could become the go-to person again for our patients in our community. So yeah, that's the value of a network is, I mean, is everything. You
Yep.
have to start rebuilding and getting out there.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, stop and think about it. Some of you that if you're going into startup and you're going back to somewhere where you were known, what I want to remind you is you
Mm,
were known as a, teenager or a 20 something. Like you were
mm,
known for some things that may actually serve you in practice, but some things that may not serve you in practice. So it's
mm.
important no matter like if it is, oh, I'm going back to my hometown, people do know me. Well, it's important that you still do all of these things or realize the importance of this piece because you're a new person. You're a professional now, so
Yes.
you want to have and build the kind of network that Dr. Jennifer's talking about regardless. Like you don't want them to rely on somebody that knew you when you were 17 years old.
Yes, good point. Good point. Yeah, and it's, I mean, I can't stress it enough. I mean, people do default nowadays, especially. I think more new grads would be, oh, I'll just do it online. I could do all my
Yep.
promotion online. But like you said earlier, nothing replaces looking someone in the eye. You cannot build trust as quickly and as effectively with your future patients as you can when you show up week after week to events. You look at them, you smile, you chat about what's important to them, you build amazing rapport with people in
Right.
person. You can't do that online. You can't.
Yeah.
As great as your videos are, as great as your your offer is, it's not, it just doesn't replace it.
Yeah. That's why it's definitely both. So
Yep.
keep going. So you've really talked about that key pinnacle. Figure out where you want to be.
Yep.
Here's where you come in. You do the marketing. You do the networking. What
Mhm.
else? What other clues for people?
Well, I mean, I think from a from a mental emotional health standpoint, deciding, making the decision is one thing, and that's a big thing, but you have to have a level of mental toughness and resilience to go through the process, to be willing to uproot yourself, make a change. And again, you're talking about new grads in startup mode, but also people who are, perhaps considering a change, is that you have to realize that things are going to take a left turn at some point, that they're not,
Yeah.
everything is not going to go according to your plan. I can count, oh my gosh, 5 or 6 things that happened during our whole process of timing this. And like we moved our x-ray unit. We had to have an engineer come and do that. I mean, there was just so many pieces and moving parts that was didn't sign up for that. I did sign up for it, turns out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you just have to have a certain level of positivity, of resilience, of okay, this may not happen exactly according to plan, but keeping that end goal in mind, that we're going to get there and everything will happen. It's not going to happen all at once or in the right order, but it will get there. So I think just knowing going in that it's not going to be super smooth can can really help your ability to get through it.
I agree. I definitely think it is some of that mental toughness or connection, at least to the bigness of the vision and why you're doing
Yes.
this, and that ultimately it
Yes.
is going to work itself out. Another interesting thing that I'd love you to share with everybody, I think that there are definitely those are like really hard details, like the decisions about the move, and then the action steps
Mhm.
related to the move. You know, all that's great, and then you open your doors. And
Yeah.
I assume that everyone listening is a great chiropractor. For me, that's just a given. But I think there's some other really important, we might want to call them the soft skills, the things that distinguish not only say people then first coming to you. How do you like create that instant connection and for lack of a better word, sell people that you're the right
Yeah.
clinic, that now they're going to
Yeah.
stick with you too. So because you've got some background, and share with everybody kind of why I bring up the word selling, but
Yeah.
those are some skills, and how do we help people get those skills?
Yes, those are absolutely skills. Um, so a little background. I am definitely I'm one of the partners with Close for Chiro, and that's what we do is we teach doctors how to convert, how to sell, how to have those conversations, how to have your day one so that at the end of their consult they feel like this is the place for me, and not only just for their day two, but then like you said, Janice, ongoing retention. That is the key piece about building a practice. And I spent 16 years in practice before being trained properly. I had a lot of training in chiropractic. I had a lot of coaches. I had a lot of those types of services for my practice, but it wasn't until I really learned the the profession of sales and how it applies to chiropractic that changed the course of our career, our practice, and ultimately allowed us to be able to make this move knowing we can do what we do in California, we can do the same thing in Arizona. So it is a skill set, no doubt about it. And there are many steps to it, but it really gave us and gave our doctors that we coach and train now the confidence to do things that they never thought they would do because they know what they're doing. They have a system. They have a
Yeah.
system that works every time.
Because that I think is a big piece of, I'll call it the mental stress too, that takes us away from that tenacity and toughness. It's one thing to do the startup, and all of you kind of that have been through it, and that's why some people never want to move because they don't want to do it all over again. So there are
Right.
all these details that we've talked about, and where it is and how do you network. But here's the biggest challenge I see for our profession, for the majority of us as chiropractors, is how do we communicate? How do we sell? And I like to say, I had one of your partners on here for a previous interview, and I always like to language it: selling equals serving. That
Yes.
getting away from the stigma, in we want this. We want this for more of you listening, that we want you to have the opportunity not just to bring someone in, but to convert, to work with them, and then show them. I'll just call it the bigness of chiropractic. We
Yep.
all throw that around, like chiropractic in our life and how much it helps us. I mean, who I am is a big part of, because of being a chiropractor and having
Absolutely.
chiropractic care. But how do we get people to that? So that you don't want to always, for now, in startup mode, and it's the new patient treadmill because you're turning them over so fast. So that's why I think it's also a really important piece to talk about these soft skills.
It's super important. And I think, you brought this up that sales has a stigma on it. And it's why it's never been brought into chiropractic until maybe we did it at Closer Chiro probably 8 years ago. Before that, it just didn't exist. And when we first came out, everyone was like, "Oh, what are you doing? You can't say that. We're healthcare practitioners." And like, if you've ever um, adjusted somebody in exchange for money, you're in sales. I hate to tell you, I hate to break it to you,
Mhm.
but can we get better at this? And sales absolutely is service. We cannot. Oh, there's so many trains of thought I have. We cannot continue to serve people if we are not a profitable business. That is the bottom
Mhm.
line. And every chiropractor I talk to say, I just love what I do and I want to serve more people. I get it. I want you to serve more people, but you can't do that if you can't keep the lights on. You can't do that if you're not actually having a wonderful revenue producing practice. It's just not, and it doesn't support your own values. Would you love to be the biggest donor to your church? Would you love to be the biggest donor
Yes.
to the SPCA? Like the biggest donor to your chiropractic college? I mean, these are things that we can only do when we are profitable as doctors. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. There is nothing wrong with wanting to grow your business from a revenue standpoint for revenue. That is great. We all have
Right.
hearts of gold. We didn't get into chiropractic to not help people. Like we're not selling nuclear arms. We're selling something that is going to change people's lives and save people's lives. But the way that we get there is systematic. There is an approach that works really really well, and it's it is meeting people where they're at. It is figuring out what is that person's goal? What do they want? Why are they here? Not our goals for them, but their
Right.
goals, and finding that out, because that is what will tie them to your practice for forever, for a lifetime, for
Right.
however long they want to be there.
So, everyone listening, I think it's pretty obvious why I wanted Dr. Jennifer on this show, and the timing of December. And I'd really like you to think about, like, what would you love for 2022? Whether you are in this brand new startup, whether you're just in, I'll call it the wonderful practice that you've built, but how could you even grow it? How could you expand it? How do you maybe bring another wonderful young doc into that by having so much of this growth? So I think that there's just some real clues that you've heard from Dr. Jennifer. Now, we keep these short, Dr. Jen, and so what would you love
Mhm.
to leave people with? Heading from your own learning, from your own experiences, your wish for them. Just share with us, what you'd love to leave people with.
Well, I think I would love to encourage people that, like, really anything is possible. It really is, and it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but anything is possible. If you are thinking about making a change, just do it, and know that you're going to reach out for support. That's the other thing. You have to know what you don't know, and you have to be willing to ask for support, to ask for help in the areas that you're not strong. And if it happens to be, you know, business related, I'm happy to have conversations. I'm happy to have people reach out to me. I'm more than willing to have conversation about how we can help. But go for it.
Right.
Do it. Life's too short. If anything
Absolutely.
this
So,
last year, 2 years told us, is that life is too short, and figure out
yeah,
how to make yourself happy.
I summarize that by saying, learn in your life what are the hell no's and what are the hell
Yes.
yeses. And
Yes.
if the hell yes is it's time for a change, then you're going to be back into some level of startup mode. So,
Yep.
thank you for all of the sharing and the wisdom. Please know, everyone, we will by all means put Dr. Jennifer Rosenhart's contact information, also close for Cairo's contact information, just so that you have those kinds of resources. But again, figure out what are those hell yeses for 2022. So thank you all for listening. Please know, join next week. The host of next week's Growth Without Risk is Mike Misko, and I know that he's going to leave you with amazing tools and information. Happy holidays.